What's up, you guys? Teddy Striker here, and fight week is almost over for UFC 312, Sean Strickland versus Dricus Plessis 2. And this fight is actually pretty hard to predict because I feel like both fighters, they come into most of their fights basically almost fighting in one way. Like Dricus Plessis, you know what he's gonna do. He's gonna go out there, he's gonna rush you, he's gonna look for his takedowns, look for those big punches on the feet, and look to finish you at all times. Well, Sean Strickland, he's going to go out there, he's going to throw his jab, he's going to throw his teep, and he's going to be very defensively responsible in there and look to put the pressure on you. And to be honest, I feel like Dricus du Plessis, he's not going to do too much different than he did in his first fight against Sean Strickland or even throughout all the fights in his career. I feel like he is going to look similar to what he looked like in the first fight. Maybe just a bit more refined punches, maybe better defensively. But for the most part, I feel like he's going to be the same. Whereas Strickland, I'm not too sure because in the lead up, he's been talking about how he's, trying to hit harder and he's trying to put Dricus du Plessis out of there and try to finish him. And he seems pretty aware now that he only goes out there and he basically only throws jabs and teeps, and it is a rematch, so there's a chance he might actually just change his style and make some small improvements to get him the victory. But I don't know. This is very close. I feel like the fighter who is most likely to look different in this fight has to be Sean Strickland. We know Dricus is going to push the pace. He's going to look to finish you and explore your weaknesses in there. But the problem is it's difficult to do that against Sean Strickland because he doesn't really throw too much out there. He just does enough to where there's not really that much you can exploit him on. I mean, there is things that you can exploit him on, like him reaching out for punches to defend shots. But we've only seen really one guy in there in the middleweight division take advantage of that, and that was Alex Pereira with that left hook. And I don't think that DDP is that clean of a striker to be able to put Strickland away like that. I mean, I could see DDP using his left head kick to counter Sean Strickland's jab a lot more, like he did with Israel Adesanya. And that left kick of Dricus du Plessis is very, very technical and very good. Like, he throws it with clean technique, and he's able to get some good snap on that kick as well. Like, he does. It's not really like a Muay Thai kick. Like, he doesn't clock it back, do the switch and then he throws it out there. No, he just kind of takes a small step with his back leg and then he just whips his kick out there, and it's a very effective kick. It's kind of like a sort of karate or taekwondo style of throwing the kick. So that could be effective to take away Strickland's jab. But Strickland, like I was saying earlier, he stays offensive and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, which is then up to his opponent to create those mistakes from Strickland and have Strickland open himself up instead of just taking advantage of the holes that are there. And that is hard to do, and DDP was able to do that against Strickland a lot in the first fight. And if Strickland is going to be more aggressive, I feel like Dricus is going to be finding Strickland a lot easier. And we saw when Strickland took on Nasruddin Imavov, he was getting clipped a lot in that fight. I think that was one of the fights where he got hit the most outside of the Dricus du Plessis fight in the middleweight division. He was getting clipped a lot because he was very aggressive. He was coming forward and he had a lot of volume, but at the same time, he was getting clipped too. And we see the same thing with Max Holloway. Max Holloway, he hits his opponents a lot. He goes out there, he sets out significant strikes record on his opponent's face, but at the same time, he puts himself in positions to get hit a lot as well. And that's why he's absorbed the most significant strikes out of any UFC fighter. But another thing about Dricus du Plessis, which is why I'm actually sort of leaning towards him, is the mid-fight adjustments that he's able to make with his opponents. A lot of the times, it looks like he's not winning. It looks like he's getting beat up, but he's able to keep that winner's mentality and look for the win at every point of the fight. He looks for a finish at every moment of the fight. We saw him against Darren Till. He was getting pieced up bad, but actually, in the first round, he did really good. But then in the second round, he was getting pieced up. And at the start of the third round, he was also getting pieced up. But then towards the end of the third round, he was starting to catch Thornhill on the feet, and eventually he had a takedown. He was able to get him out of there. With Brunson, it was competitive. You could say he arguably lost the first round, but then he was able to come back and put away Derek Brunson. With Whitaker, early on, he was struggling, but then he was getting the timing of Whitaker. And one thing about Dricus du Plessis is he's always able to find the timing of his opponents, and that's why I feel like he was able to catch a guy like Israel Adesanya, a guy who's much faster and much clearer than him. And we saw in rounds 3 and 4, Adesanya was piecing Dricus du Plessis up, but he was able to stay in the fight, even under the pressure of getting hit with those body shots, which I think Sean Strickland is going to go for in this fight. He was able to take those shots, stay calm, stay composed, and eventually find his opening. And I feel like he's going to be able to do the same. And Strickland has like a staph infection, and that reduces like your energy. Like it just like messes you up quite a bit, drains your energy a lot faster. You're not as strong, X, Y, and Z. We've seen fighters like be affected by this, but at the same time, Islam Makhachev in his Dustin Poirier fight, he had staph infection too, and he still came out on top, and he still looked great, because that just shows the level that he's on. And Sean Strickland is usually a guy that doesn't really fatigue in fights, so it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. But I could see Strickland winning if he makes the right adjustments, but at the same time, Dricus du Plessis, like, even when he's in the fight and he's losing, he still has a chance of winning, which is the crazy thing about him. He always finds a way to win. He always gets himself out of bad situations, and I think in this one, he is going to be able to get himself out of those situations, and I actually feel like he is going to be able to finish Sean Strickland, because I think Strickland is going to be more aggressive, leaving himself more open, and he's not going to be as hard to hit. And Dricus has already been in there with him. He's kind of figured out his style already. In the first fight, I thought he won 3-2. And now du Plessis has that 5-round experience. He is a more well-rounded fighter. So I feel like he's going to be able to, and he's going to have a lot more confidence in this fight, knowing that he was able to tag up Strickland as much as he was. And the first time it was really about the belt, but now I think he's going to be maybe a bit more aggressive early on, and set up his shots a lot better than before, because before it seemed like he was throwing things to just win rounds, but now I feel like he's going to be more tactical with his approach, and I could see Dricus du Plessis getting a stoppage over Strickland inside 3 rounds, but I could see Strickland winning too. We'll see what happens, but thank you guys for watching. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.